Welcome to the 22nd edition of 97 Octane Hockey, joined tonight by my co-host Bob the Goalie and my good friends Jeremy and Bryan. It's Thanksgiving weekend. Anybody that's out there wants to tune in and have some laughs with us, that would be appreciated. I got to say I'm thankful for meeting you two. You guys got me through one of the darkest patches of my life, and I don't even know if you knew, but it was a pleasure to meet you both. And the legend of the finger, I'll start by letting Jeremy in on what that's all about.
It's never going to go away, Bryan.
Okay, so here's the story. So we're at first round, and it's you two guys and Kim and Tam, and we're just shooting the shit. And one of you guys, like teenagers, starts a little text chat on Twitter as we're sitting there, a foot away from each other. And at some point, I wanted to give you guys the finger on Twitter on my phone. So I'm scrolling through the emojis, and I'm scrolling, and about a minute passes, and I can't find the fucking finger emoji. So I yell out, "Where the fuck is the finger emoji?" and then Jeremy sends a picture of him doing this to me, which I think you have on the original the bill for this. So it's a stupid little inside joke that is only funny to the two of you, and that's pretty much it.
The legend has grown beyond me and Jeremy. That's a bold-faced lie, Bryan.
Oh man. Anyway, I now know where the finger emoji is, and I'm ready to use it if necessary. So look out. In fact, I was totally ready to rip Oilers management a new asshole today for potentially letting Raphael Lavoie, a 6'4" first shot scorer that we've been developing for 4 years, go on waivers, but he slid it right on through. So no harm done. What a genius.
Well, if you shoot on to Heavy Hockey Network, their Lotzi put up a new article here just minutes before we went on, I think, and he kind of explained the reasoning of how that or why that even happened. We had no choice. With Niemelainen being hurt, we have no choice. We basically everybody else that's out there, we had to send down. And if you're gonna pick a day to do it, today is the day, because everybody was releasing their guys on waivers, so you'll have guys more likely falling through the cracks. So, yeah. Whew, I know, I'm with you. I thought Lavoie was the one guy that we probably need to keep, so that was a bit of a gamble. But if you're gonna take a gamble, might as well do it before game one.
Yeah, timing was okay. Got through that. You can still call him up. He has to play. He has to play 10, 12 games or something before he has to go back on waivers again. So we'll get a look at him at some point. But
I agree.
I was pissed this morning when I been pissed all night, and this morning was just like, ugh.
I'm glad you brought this up, because it leads me to something like, I gotta say, I think Edmonton is one of the few places where the final guys to make a club are front page news, and we debate it and we talk about it to the nth degree. And Oiler fans, I think, are the most intelligent hockey fans there are in the NHL.
The educated ones.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and the good arguments can be made for why it was done, why it wasn't done, and all that. I'm just glad that he cleared, and that we didn't lose that asset. I was actually thinking that he was potential trade bait, and I don't know what we would get for him, the player to be named later. And I'm glad it wasn't that. I'm glad he didn't get dealt for futures, but I thought that was definitely something that could happen. He didn't have a lights out camp, but he wasn't bad either. I thought he was good. So,
yeah, I think he did enough by scoring a couple of big goals. That goal on Thatcher Demko was pretty world class, and even Demko was like, he's looking over like, who the hell is that guy? Just ripped that 30-footer past me.
Yeah,
so I'm glad he's still in the organization.
I think he needed to score that goal because that kind of turned all of our heads going, okay, that's what this guy's all about, right? That's what this guy can do. Because in all honesty, I thought of all those guys that were sent down, Lane Peterson probably had the best camp of all those boys. But I think we need Lavoie to be that guy who could be a bottom six guy with some scoring potential. And he showed he has that scoring potential, that's for sure.
I'm going to push back on that a little, Bobby, and I'm going to say that Ben Gleason, I think, had the best camp.
I was thinking forwards, but you're right. Gleason had a really strong camp. Yeah, 100%.
Oh, and Brian, this just came in.
Wow, how long did it take you to Photoshop that, honestly? A day and a half?
It's been there the whole time. We'll just bring it up. We'll just bring it up from time to time because it actually works on the screen there as kind of it's like the got your back fist almost right in the middle there. Perfect.
Every time
whenever you disagree with anybody, Dursa, just fire that sucker up.
Yeah, it just works.
Then you're gonna have it up every time I talk, though. That's the problem.
That Ben Gleason, I don't know who that guy is, but man, he was fast and covered well and made good passes, and he could have easily made the team in favor of Desharnais or dropped Broberg down temporarily.
I think he's going to push Desharnais this year because it's kind of a similar type player.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really impressed. Really impressed by that guy.
Yeah, you got to think when they told him he's going down, he's got to sit there and go, like, what more do you guys need from me? Because I thought I had a pretty good camp, and I thought he was, I think he was the standout of preseason for potential future Oilers.
Well, Woodcroft makes a good point in all his pressers. He says, a lot of these guys are fighting also not just to make the team, but also to be the first call up. I think Gleason, will be disappointed he got sent down, but I think he'll be very happy with the camp he put in. He made it a very tough decision for Edmonton. I think you looked at our 60 or 70, I guess, and that's they kind of want to keep that nucleus and kind of build around that. So it would have been kind of a tough. Even if you would have had to play a lot better than any of those guys to be on the team. And you could make an argument that Gleason did play better, but did he play a lot better? No, not really. But he'll definitely be, we won't hesitate to call him up if need be.
I almost wonder if he actually is in the opening night roster, if there's a little bit more to Ekholm and Kulak, not being quite ready to go if he's not playing against Vancouver on Wednesday anyway.
I don't know if we're allowed to do an emergency call-up yet right away, though. I don't know what the rule is there for the season opener. They might have to go with 12-5 or something stupid like that.
I don't know.
What even happened to Kulak? I never saw anything. Just tweak something in practice?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, everything's pretty. It's like we're a week from the playoffs. They don't want to say anything about anybody.
Lower body injury.
Yeah,
lower body.
Jeremy, you had a son that had a birthday today. Is that right?
Yeah, just over the weekend.
Did we pull you away from something important just to come on our show? Have a beer with you?
You know what? That's why I love you guys. No, we had an awesome week out in Elk Island and got back this afternoon. So he's just happy to chill out and relax, and same here.
Yeah, I was working actually northeast of Grand Prairie until late last night. So today I was pretty much was almost ready to tell you guys I don't think I can do my own show today, but around 4 o'clock, I kind of started to get a little bit mobile and started to feel better.
You're a gamer, Dursa. You're a gamer. Don't pull any of this
Yeah.
panicky stuff. I'm too tired to talk.
Oh, yeah. I was a piece of shit all day.
I got a round of golf in 24-degree weather.
Yeah, it was just gorgeous today.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't feel like hockey weather yet.
When are courses around there going to shut her down? Like, are they going to go till the end of the month almost?
Well,
or?
there's usually been some frost by now, and they're this is kind of the last week, or the Thanksgiving weekend is kind of it for a lot of courses. But I think they're probably going to hang on through next weekend by the looks of things. And then
I played Legends last weekend, and we actually were in an hour frost delay. All the tee times got pushed by an hour.
Yeah, this is the season. So that's probably it for me. I suck at it anyway, but I enjoy it, but I am no good at it. Time to switch to hockey. The year of year of the Oilers, cup or bust. I think you had the cup or bust podcast, or the article you wrote there, Mike.
Yeah.
I have to agree with you with the cap. We're right up against the cap. The cap might go up $1 million or $2 million next year, but we've already eaten $3 million into it by giving Connor Brown a $3 million bonus after 10 games. So it could be tough to keep the team together next season. So this is it. This feels like our best chance in a long, long time. And don't want to be too optimistic. It's not that much different of a team than last year. It's only a few players have changed. Losing Yamamoto and Costin hurts a tiny bit, but Connor Brown certainly up an upgrade on Yamamoto, who did precious little with a lot of ice time, I think. And then, I think Costin fit in really well and was tough to lose, and that physicality might hurt us in a few situations, or lack thereof. But actually, I really think those guys, what they did more than anything else, those were two guys that kind of kept the room loose and were always joking around and having fun when Captain Sirius was moping around and stuff. So hopefully somebody can pick up the torch there and be that glue guy who keeps things loose in the dressing room.
Zach Cassian 2.0. Here we come.
Oh God, no. He was on a PTO somewhere, wasn't he?
Ducks.
Anaheim, right? Yeah.
If you're getting released by the Ducks, you're pretty much done, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think losing Nick Bukestad is probably going to actually hurt more than Costin. That guy did a lot and kind of went unnoticed. Pretty good face-off guy, and I like the idea though of revisiting him in March when Arizona's out of it.
Get
him back.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, we can be as strong as we want going into the season, and then on paper right now we got a good team, and we all have our we're optimistic about what our potential is for sure. Once kind of things 60 game mark here, we'll kind of see where we're at and then we can start filling in those pieces. So I have no reason to hesitate in thinking that this is the year that we can do it. Like, the pieces are in place. We'll have, if we got to move some as time goes on, we'll know what we need and what we don't need anymore. Plug and play, and let's do this already.
Yeah, no. The only thing that scares me this season is injuries, the unknown.
And that's always a factor, right? So it is what it is. That's sports. So.
Yeah.
I kind of want to know what you guys think about this analytics team that's being built. We're no longer. All of a sudden, we're no longer the NHL Guide and Record Book team. We got an analytics genius who's going to build a team of analytic people. It sounds great. I'm not into analytics a lot. I'm just wondering, what if we had an analytics team last season? What kind of changes would have been made that weren't made last season or in the playoffs or whenever? What do you think might have happened for the better?
Well, I don't know what kind of changes would have happened per se, because it all depends what the analytics is looking at. But I'm super pumped about getting an analytics team. I think we're one of the few teams that didn't really have an analytics full-time department. I mean, this guy that we hired now, I guess he's been like a consultant for us before, and has helped the analytical department. Dave Tippett always
familiar. Yeah,
Dave Tippett always mentioned how he kept his own analytics, but he never shared what they were. So analytics has always been in play, but now to have a full-time team, committed to it and working at it, all it does is it either confirms certain decisions you make, or addresses some areas or points out some areas that we could use some improvement. Right? I mean, it's nothing set in stone because they are just numbers in the long run, but. If we find there's a certain situation where a guy does better in face-offs, well, let's throw him in there, in a crucial part of the game because he's been killing at face-offs, or just any kind of thing like that. I think as much information as you can get, and then make a educated decision on after you process all that information, and that's a bonus.
I think you have to have a balance. I mean, Toronto Blue Jays analytics department isn't highly thought of right now because analytics said you shouldn't let this guy pitch to batters the second time around. So they pulled a guy that was on fire. Didn't make any sense. Like, I think you have to balance the information with kind of what your eyes are telling you and kind of take it from there. If you go all in one direction and not the other, then I think you're asking for a problem. So I think having as much information as possible is a good thing, but you can't let it dictate every decision you make.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe this
in like, sorry,
Chris Russell. I was like, maybe this analytics team will like Chris Russell.
I like Chris Russell. I always thought he got shit on unfairly. I was a big Chris Russell fan. In fact, he was my second favorite Oiler after Connor McDavid there for the while he was here. I was a big Russell fan.
I just don't know what to say to that. Well, good for you. He's got to have a fan. And
I'm waiting for the middle finger emoji or something. Waiting for it. There it
is. Oh, that's great. Yeah, well, I do think Russell maybe got beaten up a little more, maybe 10 times worse than he needed to get beaten up. But he wasn't great those last couple of years, I don't think. But anyway,
you were tired of the off the glass and out, were you?
Tired of that. Tired of the starfish. I don't know who's Wendelin Lamb Chop, the one who does those Oilers cartoons, and she has a T-shirt with him. I'm helping. That is just the best. I love that.
Maybe I could relate to him because that's how I play defense. So
we do see Darnell Nurse doing that a fair amount, but he does seem to get in the way maybe a little more often than Chris Russell ever did. With the
Russell, the world leader in shot blocks. What do you mean never got in the way?
World leader, absolutely. Hasn't he been passed by somebody? I thought he was passed.
Yeah, he has now.
Yeah. Anyway,
he's got to pass on.
I just wondered if they had an analytics team last year, would they have broken up Nurse and Cece at some point? Because I don't think their analytics were good. It was like below average on everything, but they were very stubborn about keeping those guys together.
Yeah, afraid to experiment with anything else, and I don't know.
I wonder if the analytics team has the ear of not just the GM in terms of what players they get or bring up or whatever, but with coaching the coaching staff as well.
They probably do. They probably do, but it's probably taken with a grain of salt. I mean, you probably listen to it and then you make your own mind up after the fact. Like, I mean, they're not the coach. They don't have the final say.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. I think that's.
Well, I'm looking forward to see how it influences things. That's for sure. One of the problems was like in the playoffs last year that we didn't make any changes. We kept just doing the same lineup, the same system, and never adjusted at all. That goes as much as the elephant in the room with the goaltending. We didn't make any changes at all. Just keep going with what's hopefully going to work, right? So maybe something like this will help back up some numbers and for some decisions that need to be made.
Yeah, I guess we're playing a zone defense this year. That's what I hear. I haven't played enough hockey or attempted to coach enough hockey to know what the heck, to be able to visually ascertain how different it is now from what it was last year. But Well,
I think
we'll see.
I think it's something you'll see implemented more towards the end of the game. Like they're going to get strict at it to try to do the shutdown thing when we're up by 1 or 2 goals, and then like we're going to see it probably throughout the game, but we're going to definitely see it more evident towards the end when we're really trying to lock things down. That's when they're going to get strict on it, I feel.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see like the Flyers Tampa Bay where we're sitting back the whole time and just playing a trap. I would be remiss, Brian, if I didn't play this for you.
Okay, another stupid inside joke that only you think is funny.
It's fucking great, man.
Where the first time, I think that was the first time I was in Grand Prairie for work, and we met up at some bar, and I think they were playing that, and I said something like in the chorus, it's Michael Jackson, but I didn't know that was Michael Jackson, so I said, that guy sounds a lot like Michael Jackson, and Mike laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. And that's it. That's another stupid inside joke.
I gotta find the chorus here.
I always feel like.
Yeah. Just hold that.
Thanks, buddy. You got any more gems? I think we have negative 10 viewers now.
Me and Bob are just sitting here going, I love inside jokes. I hope you're part of one.
You know what? We should make our own next time. We'll make our own and get on there.
Jeremy started it all.
Brian, though, like he just sets himself up, and it's like
I put it on a tee, and you guys just knock it out of the park. Yeah. Oh boy,
the song's too long. It takes a long time for the chorus to come.
Well, the conversation about the song takes too long too.
Yeah, it's over.
really,
Get over it.
All right, so
It sounds a lot like Michael Jackson.
It really does.
like not wrong.
Uncanny.
Then I got the whole Rockwell life story from Mike. Like, who gives a fuck about Rockwell?
I don't know anything about Rockwell. All I know is
Well,
Michael Jackson is doing the hook.
You told me that he was dating Janet or something, and or one of the sisters. That was you. Oh, God damn it. My dorky LinkedIn picture. Thank you very much.
You know what Jeremy said? Who's Brian trying to catfish with that?
that's tax business.
I didn't know this was going to turn into a roast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time
Now here's
Brian
Brewer.
Yeah.
Oh. I wonder if I got that picture in the mall that Jeremy took here too. That was fucking great.
A big reunion.
Just digging through photo albums to get this done.
Yeah.
It's been a few years, man. That was a good time.
So are we all in agreement that we feel this is the Oilers Cup here?
Cautious optimism, but you look at the mindset of the team, and when some of these guys are talking, like they are just focused on that cup or bust mentality. So
that's my living. That's in my living room there. I got Brian back too.
We get closer to like that playoff push, what we can add, and I mean, like we said, like this is kind of the year to just go all in and go for it.
I hate to say cup or bust because, I mean, the actual odds of winning the cup, no matter how good you are still in the, 5 to 10% range, even if you're the best team in the league. So anything can happen in those playoffs. But, man.
The bust part of that kind of is ominous, isn't it? Like, okay, you don't win. Are we blowing this team up? I don't think so. I think you keep trying until you get it done.
You look at the season Boston just had, best season in decades, and gone in the first.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there are no guarantees. It's not an easy trophy
And
to
that's
win.
why I don't play the games on paper, right? So I'm not that worried about the bust part of it. I think that was Leon just making a statement about how important or how he feels this is the right time to win the cup and what their focus is. I don't think it'll be a bust. I mean, I'm pretty confident that Leon re-signed. So we keep Connor, Leon, Nurse, that kind of core group. Nuge will still be here for a while. That kind of core group together. You can't bust because if you have number one, the two best players in the world on your team, you're never out of that picture. You're always building around to try and get that team. So it'll be a while before it's an actual bust.
I don't know how this is going to look on screen, but I do have the trifecta of fingers here. Yeah, it looks okay.
Very good.
He's coming to meet us for lunch, and Jeremy gives him the "How you doing?"
Arms wide open, just reaching for it.
Yeah.
Like Jeremy never misses an opportunity to get him.
Do we think that Connor and Leon are going to sign again here long term?
100%.
Yeah. I think history tells us that, they players of that caliber seem to stick with those teams, right? They find a way to not let them
But
leave.
the key is, as long as we are always contenders, that's the thing. Like, if we start being a team that misses the playoffs and stuff like that, then I'd be getting worried. But as long as we're always contenders in the conversation and able to make that push, then why wouldn't they? And there's a lot of pride for these athletes too, that they're part of this foundation. They put a lot of work into this. They're so close. They're going to want to see it through. They're going to watch it through. They don't want to just jump onto another team already and just feed off of what all those guys are building. They want to get the fruits of their labor here.
Walking Gage said something interesting on that subject. He said for Leon, he says it's more likely that he re-signs if they don't win a cup before his contract's over. And I was like, wow, that's an interesting spin on it, because everybody else thinks it's the other way around, that they need to win to keep them. But he thinks it's more likely that he stays and wants to get it done with Connor if he doesn't get it done before his deal's up.
That's not a bad point.
Yeah, and I think like Bob was saying, like, we're a competitive team. We're consistently getting in the playoffs. Like, it sucks that we've lost to the last two cup winners, but I think there is that push, like you said. They want to see this thing through with what they've gone through and what they've been building, and just hold that cup here.
Can you imagine like Leon bailing and heading off to Pittsburgh or whatever, and then we win the cup? Like how much would you be kicking yourself going, oh shit, I missed out on having the cup with my boys?
I mean,
Ovechkin could have done that. Ovechkin could have done a long time ago. Washington was a struggling franchise, or they get in the playoffs and make a run and fall short so many times. You don't think he could have shot off elsewhere where he thought he had a better shot? But he put a lot of work into that team. Like, he helped build that team, and he wanted to see this come through with that team.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ovechkin is a pretty good test case there, I would say, for a lot of things. The whole wasting his best years argument. Well, what did he play there for, 13, 14 years before they won a cup? So,
but then on the flip side, look at Ray Bourque. Bourque spent his whole career in Boston, got close a few times. They had some really shitty years as well sometimes. He never once bailed on his team until he was pretty much, quote unquote, past his prime. Like, he's in his 40s. And then it's like, okay, I've done everything I can here. We're not winning the cup. Yeah, I'd really like to have a cup before I'm done, right? So, and then the trade gets made. So if we hang on to Connor and Leon until they're in the 40s, I'm good with that. If they want to go win a cup, then I'll be cheering for them. We couldn't get you a cup over here. Yeah, try and find somewhere else. It's unfair for those guys to retire with the cup.
Sure. Yeah. I was a little surprised to see Winnipeg sign both Scheifele and Hellebuck today to these long-term extensions. Yeah. It looked like they were ready to blow things up and change the culture and everything else. And then, okay, I guess we're going to stick with these guys for 7 years.
Yeah, no, that's an awesome topic of discussion for sure. Because in the summer, it looked like, it was nuclear wasteland in Winnipeg. And they were going to have to clean up the whole neighborhood, and Hellebuck was going to the Kings, and goddamn, I'm thankful that they took Pierre-Luc Dubois instead of Connor Hellebuck there, because that would have made LA a pretty formidable opponent for sure. I mean, they are already they're probably the third. Well, they are the third best team in the Pacific, kind of behind us in Vegas, and I'm listing us first on purpose because I think we beat ourselves in that Vegas series more than anything. But yeah, no, that is surprising. I thought there was going to be a max exodus there, and they were going to retool and reload, and good for them. I don't know what was said, or if just money talks, or what, but it seemed like it was like the, to use the Lucic unattainable situation. That's kind of what it seemed like there.
Very surprising. Yeah.
You know what? It's gonna make me sound high and mighty of myself, but I'm not that surprised. I thought Winnipeg's core was still good. I don't blame them for Wheeler leaving. I mean, they already started to see and that sort of stuff, and he's in his late 30s, pushed towards the end of his career. But their core guys, Scheifele and Connor and Morrissey and Hellebuck, they're still kind of in their prime window there. They still had a core group to make a push. So I know they were pretty dejected because they didn't have the season they wanted to last year, and everything was kind of down in the dumps. But the summer, I think once they sat around this summer going, you know what, we actually are not bad position here. We can still make a go of this. I think the attitudes changed because I felt there was no reason for them to blow that team up. Really, they still got the goods there.
Yeah, no, I don't like question really the talent level and all of that. It just, Paul Maurice leaves and basically puts it all on the players. And then, Rick Bonus's press conference at the end of the season last year, I mean, that seemed like it was either him or players were gone, and neither happened. So it's pretty surprising to me anyway.
Everybody made up and sung Kumbaya and signed massive contracts. They're the same team basically. So we'll see what happens.
They went to Tibet and met a few monks and said some words and got it all square. Like
they must have hit a reset button this summer, and I'm happy for the Winnipeg fans. I mean, that happened. That'd be a tough one to go through. It's kind of like what you don't need another Arizona and San Jose situation there when there's no need for it.
I really thought with the news of Vasilevsky, I thought Hellebuck would have found Tampa, to be honest.
I'm actually very surprised that Tampa hasn't made a move for a goalie yet here. I mean, they officially named Jonas Johansson their starter for the opening game. Oof. I mean, he's a legit backup, but he's in the bottom half of even for backup goalies, right? So that's a tough guy to try and ride here for a month or so. And there were some decent goalies that got put on waivers, so I was very surprised not to see him pick somebody up.
Well, they will. I think they're about to put Vasilevsky on LTIR, so they'll have a $9 million or so to spend. So wouldn't surprise me to see some draft picks leave in exchange for a good goalie from somewhere, Carl Vanelka or something.
Back in the airport.
I'll just circle back to the Winnipeg thing for a second here. Some stranger says, I hear the contracts would make it easier to trade them. Yeah, that went through my head too. Like, you sign Hellebuck and then you can seek others to make a deal with, and that strengthens your return if you're going to go down that route. But I don't know, with both of them kind of signing on the same day, it doesn't seem like a sign and trade kind of scenario to me. As far as the Vasilevsky thing, I find it hilarious that he goes under the knife right before the season's supposed to start, not right at the end of the playoffs. I don't know. Like if we're trying to dispel the Kucherov going on LTIR and then coming off just for the playoffs kind of stuff and saying it was just that's the way it worked, you're not doing a very good job of it, because it does have a stink of kind of cap circumvention to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes, but then why doesn't the NHL do something about it? We've just been riding that same thing now for the last 2 years.
Nobody's complaining enough, or it's something in the NHLPA collective bargaining agreement that you can do that kind of shit. I don't know. There's a stink to it for me, though.
Now the playoffs get $100 million salary cap for some reasons.
have the salary cap in the playoffs too. Like that doesn't make sense.
100% should carry over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 100%. Yeah.
Or you increase it by a certain percentage because you're allowed to carry more players, right?
Some black aces, yeah, but not be way over the cap.
Yeah.
I can't even really fathom why they eliminated the salary cap for the playoffs.
No.
I don't know why they did that to begin with. Maybe the players asked for that, the CBA, so you can potentially get more guys.
What a weird thing to ask for, though.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's funny too because that's the most important time to really have that in place.
Yeah, if you want the disparity that you've been preaching for, and then all of a sudden it goes away for the playoffs.
Right. Yeah.
It was funny when Tampa first did it, and you had Colorado kind of bitching about it in their postseason interviews, and then following year Colorado kind of does it, and then Vegas kind of does it. They all end up strengthening their teams and winning the cup. So if that's the bar, then we just have to learn how to do that ourselves somehow.
Yeah, it reminds me of Days of Thunder. You know, rubbing is racing. it's yeah. If you aren't working the angles, I guess you're not trying hard enough.
Good point about them potentially making it easier for them to be traded. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, if you know what a guy's going to cost you for the next 6 or 7 years,
and he signed, right? So you don't have to worry about negotiating a new contract with him.
That's your 3 core guys. I mean, I suppose like if one guy goes, then maybe the other 2 will want to go. But right now, you still have enough key guys in their prime to build around.
Yeah, no, I don't question the talent level that the Jets put on the ice. It's formidable. I mean, I don't think it's where we're at right now, but it's not far behind. It's not far behind. That was never my question. It seemed like there was like
with the attitudes and stuff.
Yeah, like bad blood that wasn't going to go away, and that bridges were burned. I mean, those pressers with Bonus were pretty detailed and pretty calling out. And it seemed like he was on the same page that Paul Maurice was on, and Paul Maurice left because he didn't think that team, did what it took to get to where he wanted them to go and believed that they could go. Like they were getting in their own way. And it seemed like Bonus was right on the exact same train with those guys. And now everything's cool. Mountains in Tibet did it.
We'll see if it's cool. We'll see if it's cool.
Yeah.
Maybe these new contracts re-energize them. I don't know. But there's always that possibility. I mean, some stranger is absolutely right. It does make them easier to trade when they have a contract.
But maybe the real issue in Winnipeg was the guy that actually went to LA. So maybe that was them sorting shit out.
Trouble seems to follow that guy around.
And I could see that. I mean, when Pierre-Luc Dubois is on his game, he's a hell of a player, but that guy disappears for long stretches. I mean, he's like probably a little bit more talent. Well, obviously a little bit more talented Yamamoto or Puljujärvi, but the same kind of thing where, off and
I wonder if he gets bored of the same organization because he's asked for a trade in every organization he's been on. But he always starts red hot with them and then kind of fades away and loses interest. So if I'm LA, I'm like, we got to push these first 2 years we have him because he's going to fade away and get disinterested and want out again. But you're right, Durst. Like when he's on, like he is an elite player. He really is. But it's just a matter of when he plays.
I would say he's an elite talent. I wouldn't say he's an elite player because to me, to be an elite player, you gotta like 80% or more. You've got to be that man. You got to be the man
all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those last few games of his with Columbus were pretty ugly.
And I would say he's like a 30% the man guy, and that might be a little high.
Yeah.
But when he's on, he's a hell of a player.
I've seen
elite talent, good way to put it.
I've seen a few people predict that several Oilers are going to have less points this year than last year. People are predicting Nuge is going to regress to 70 points or 80 points, and there's no way McDavid can get 150, 160 again. And I'm thinking to myself, why? Like, if they all regress, like we're not making the playoffs, man. So why are you predicting these things? What's the reason? and I don't get that. I don't see why we can't afford to have a guy like Nuge regress, unless they put Connor Brown in his spot on the power play and suddenly it's 40% and not a historically amazing, blows our historically amazing power play right out of the water or something. Then maybe Nuge regresses and his points go over to Connor Brown a bit.
There's, you know what, Brian, there's a lot of talk that, or chatter out there that the power play is going to change the way it operates, that basically the top guys aren't going to be out there for, a minute 30, a minute 40 of each 2-minute power play, that they're going to scale it back to like 115, 120, something like that. And the second unit's going to get more time. I don't know.
I'd certainly like to see that for my fantasy teams, because
I don't know if I personally buy that they're going to change much but I think you might see some moves that start to happen from a little bit of a load management perspective, not to really bring that term into hockey, but I think over the course of 82 games, they want to try to conserve their big guns so that when the playoffs come along, they've got a little bit more than what they did and they don't burn out. But I don't know. I don't know. It's such like a drug, it's an elixir. It's like seeing that power play do its thing and most of the time score and get you that goal. And sometimes that goal is the difference of a hockey game, that I don't know if you can really tinker with that too much without kind of ruining your success, your path to success.
Breaking news here. I'm one of those guys who thinks they're going to regress in their point totals a little bit, but not in a insane manner. And there you go. Some strangers saying that exact same thing that I'm going to mention now, is they are going to focus more on their defensive side of the game. Connor McDavid is still going to win the Art Ross Trophy. He's still going to be the best offensive player in the NHL. We're still going to have the best offense in the NHL. We're still going to have the best power play in the NHL. The power play is too, like, it's too threatening. It's too powerful. There's no way it can't be the best in the NHL unless something drastically happens. I'm just saying the players are all going to focus a bit more on the defensive side of the game, so their numbers might come down. I don't see a drastic shift. Like Nuge last season, that was a drastic shift up. So even for him to have for me, when I did my projections, I have him sitting around 93 points next year. So that's not a huge downturn, but it is a downturn. Like Connor McDavid, 130, 140 points. He's still going to lose, or he's still going to win the scoring title with those numbers, but he'll also strengthen his side of the defensive play. Dursa mentioned sometimes he thinks it could be a season where McDavid even challenges for the Selke Trophy. Why not? Why not? He could be that guy. He could do that. I feel like Connor McDavid could do whatever he wants to. Having said that, I think he could score 40 goals and 130 points, and he could still score 70 goals and 175 points. You can't put anything past Connor McDavid. He'll decide what kind of season he'll want to have.
I mean, he looked faster to me at the beginning of training camp than he did last year. So he's put in the work in the off season, and I kind of think we could see a player that evolves into and he showed signs of it last year, where he's almost like Pavel Datsyuk, the best offensive player, and just a guy that comes back and takes the puck from you and goes the other way with it, just because of that speed. I think he has the potential to do something that I don't think has ever been done in the NHL, and is win, the scoring title and win the Selke in the same season. I think he does have that in him.
It was close one time.
Now that Bergeron's gone, it might be easier too.
Sergei Fedorov was the closest to do that. He won the Art Rush Trophy and finished second in the Selke voting one year. That's the closest it's ever been.
I think too, what's probably going to happen is just the way that they approach games is going to be different. I think they're going to be like sharks to the water. As soon as the game starts, they're going to try to get a lead and then hang on to it.
Yeah.
Instead of just kind of, sleepwalking into games, waiting for it to get bad before they start and then take it over. I think there's going to be a different approach to it. And I hope that's the case. I hope, as soon as the puck drops on Wednesday, they just come out and they just overwhelm Vancouver and then lock it down. On to the next. It's like Hebert hates this when I reference basketball, but you knew things were bad when you walked into the United Center in the 90s and you saw all the Bulls in their suits and stone-faced and nobody's smiling. They're just all business. And it was all business for them. They would go win a game and go on to the next and win a game. And I think that's kind of got to be the mindset for this group. And you don't want to think about Game 7 of Stanley Cup Final on opening night, but you want to take care of each game and get on to the next challenge and build for that.
I hate your basketball references too, for the record, Mike.
Terrific.
Use the Islanders and
the
Islanders and the ice packs in the dressing room. Like, use that one. That's a lot better.
There it is. The basketball. Oh.
Who cares about basketball, man?
No, you got to take pages out of every sport to be good at the one you're in.
Sure.
Every sport there, so not just basketball.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, I look forward to seeing a lot of 3-1 and 2-0 victories, I guess, this year. And
yeah,
everybody has fewer points, but it's somehow a better team. I'm looking forward to seeing if that happens. We'll see. At least we
had to focus on defense some way, because out of the 8 teams in the West that made the playoffs last year, we were the team that allowed the most goals against heading into the playoffs. So that had to be addressed. Yeah. So if that means playing a bit of a different system here, especially in the third period, that means guys be a bit more defensive focused. Then that's what we got to do to win. Like
being down by 2 goals and coming back and winning by 3 is so much fun, though.
Yeah.
Not for my ticker, it isn't.
Yeah, I'm not so concerned about the goals they give up. I still think this team is built to overwhelm you with offense, but they need to learn how to lock games down and close them out.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're going to see a lot of 3-1 or 1-0 games. Not in today's NHL. It's too high scoring.
So what does goalie Bob think about Campbell's sudden resurgence here in the exhibition games?
I don't think it's sudden. I don't think it's sudden at all. I think he started doing this already during the last 10, 15 games of the regular season last year, and he definitely showed it in the playoffs. I think if anything, and listening to his interviews, he just kind of worked on the mental game more so during the summer, and he has all the physical tools, and it's the stuff between the ears. I was on Eric Friesen's podcast here last week on Forever 99, and I mentioned the fact that it was they were talking about the numbers. Like, so Skinner played 48 games and Campbell played 34 last season. I think it'll be the other way around this year. I think those numbers are pretty consistent. Skinner's going to take a small step backwards. Again, nothing serious, but teams have a bigger book on him now. He's got a full season in NHL, so he's been scouted better, and he'll still be a solid game. They're going to go 1A, 1B, but I'm predicting it now that Campbell will be our starting goalie in Game 1 of the playoffs.
I've got a little bit of apprehension right now. I'm seeing Skinner almost timid in the net, and
no, the shitty part is that's the style. That's the shitty part. So yeah, I don't like the fact that most of the goalies you see nowadays, they do play that timid style back in the net. It's rare to see goalies come out past the blue paint to challenge like they used to do and cut the angles. It's all about the analytics part of it. This is the negative part of analytics, where it's based on percentage of where the shots usually go. And like, how many goals do you see in the last couple of years that go past the goalie's ear when they're pressed up against the post?
Yeah,
like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, over the shoulder.
That was so rare. Angles. Yeah, that was so rare back in the day.
Because they don't stand up anymore.
And it's not just Skinner that does it from the new style of goaltending. Yeah. Like most of the goalies in the NHL, you see doing that. We, of course, know Skinner doing that more because that's who we watch on a day-to-day basis. It's a goalie plague in the league.
That Zadorov goal scared me. And I know it's just preseason and you don't want to read a lot into it, but that was a bad goal.
Flashes of Koskinen.
It just just a
shot fired.
Just a bad goal, and I don't know. He just doesn't look like he's confident in the net. And Jack is kind of the opposite right now. Jack wants to be in there, and he wants to see pucks and do his thing. And I think there is going to be I hate to say this, but I think there is going to be a bit of a sophomore slump. I think Jack's going to come out of the gate on fire, and he's going to buy Skinner some time to find his game.
And that's what Skinner did for Campbell last year.
Yep.
So
Yep.
And they're a good team. They get along fine. I'm not too worried yet about Skinner from the preseason, but you've seen Jack's mentality in the preseason. Like, he's come out to prove everybody who he is, and that he is, like some stranger is saying right now, that he is the Campbell that we signed for.
Yeah.
Last year, he looked to me like the smallest 6'3" goaltender.
Yeah.
Shoulders slumped in and just making himself tiny, and it looked like he had littler pads than everybody else in that glove that pucks would just flop through. Like, what do you think there's been an equipment change? Because I don't know. He looks like he's a normal sized goaltender now. Like, his shoulders a little more square. He
still doesn't look
white
wide.
glove that actually catches pucks and doesn't let it go through. And I think he
still doesn't.
Maybe
his positioning's better, but he doesn't look wide to me. Like, I think that's just who he is. Like, some goalies in there, they look like a sheet of plywood. I mean, they're
You remember J.S. Jaguar?
Yeah, there's no net anymore. Like, yeah, you can't even move. You're just...
Garth Snow was the worst. He had those flaps that he flipped up on his shoulders and everything.
That's ridiculous.
But I think that's another thing that messed with Campbell's head last year. Like, he got so desperate, he's struggling. He changed equipment, and that actually made things worse. So, like, now he's been playing with the same equipment all summer, breaking it in, and like, he's just a better mental. And having shitty equipment that you're breaking in messes you up mentally as well. You don't have confidence in your gear even. So he's ready. So I think we'll be okay there. And Skinner's going to be okay. Like, yeah, there's going to be a bit of a sophomore slump. I agree with you, Durst. I don't think it'll be too extreme, but yeah, I see it happening for a bit.
I wonder if there's something to Campbell working with Manny Legacy over the summer, and really the only contact he talked to Dustin Schwartz over the phone, kind of on the mental aspect of his game, but he was on the ice with Manny Legacy, and that's who he was working with.
That sounds like a good move. Better than that other guy who you just mentioned.
Yeah, it seems to have paid off for him. I mean, he seems to be kind of dialed in.
But Dustin Schwartz is the best puck shooting goalie coach in the NHL. That's what I hear he's good at. He can really shoot the puck at the goaltender in practice.
Okay, well, that's great. So we should see the goals for go up for our goalies. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Oh man,
that's a crucial part of goaltending, is scoring the empty net goal. So.
It's funny if you approach this subject with Jason Gregor, he gets right mad, because I think Kevin Woodley has him kind of programmed that Schwartz is kind of the best goaltender coach there is. I don't know. I don't know. I just,
maybe he is. What do I know? I'm just a fan. But how many goalies have come in and then kind of fizzled, and we've desperately changed them?
I mean,
how many turnovers of coaches and staff has he survived? Whatever. Okay, he's great.
Yeah, no, there's definitely that aspect of it. And I mean, Talbot had a career year when he was here, but then he couldn't get it back until he left. So I don't know. Did we burn him out? Maybe. I don't know.
Jeremy keeps trying to say something on his 14K modem that he's calling in on here. So maybe we should let him.
Yeah, he cut out there. Go ahead, Jer. I can help you with that.
Of course you can.
Go stand on the roof so we can hear you.
Yeah, I might have to. Damn, kids must be watching Netflix and Disney at the same time.
Not again.
All my data.
I think one of my complaints about Schwartz, though, too, isn't just our goalies, but part of a goaltender's job, goalie coach's job, is to also scout the other team's goalies. And we are terrible at giving the other team's backup or third stringers, making them look like Vezina Trophy goalies. And I did the research last year. We were like, how many games above 500 did we finish? Like, I forget what the number was, but but against backups and third stringers, we were 5 games below 500. And that's inexcusable when you got Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and you're shooting against, like, I don't know, whoever, some no-name goalie in the system. We can't score against them.
That is just incredible over the year. That started with, I call it Darren Poopa syndrome. I remember going to that game.
There's a reference.
I'm a teenager, and I'm like, who the hell is Darren Poopa? And why is
He's a decent goalie
saving 45 shots on his first game against us? And ever since then, it seems like.
Was Darren Poopa rocking a Sabres jersey at the time?
He sure was, yeah.
No, going way back. Attaboy.
Yeah.
I think I used to hate those Aeroplex pads he was wearing. Oh my goodness.
I started going to those games when I was 4 years old back in that old building. So I saw some WHA games with my dad.
There you go.
In fact, I remember seeing a side of my dad I'd never seen when I was like 5 years old at a game where, I don't know, I think it was against the Cincinnati Stingers or something, and there was
Mike Liut?
Like a 5-on, Mike Liut, that's right. And there was like a 5-on-5 brawl. Gloves are off. Guys are going in the box, coming out of the box, fighting again. It lasted like 20 minutes. Somehow the bench is never cleared, and they got all these guys off the ice. And then it's all over, and one of the Oilers jumps off the bench and goes in front of the Cincinnati bench and is like, come on, like, somebody come off the bench at me. And nobody came off the bench. And my dad got up in his, imagine like a 5'7" Arnold Schwarzenegger accent, right? He shot up, God damn it, you pussies, you fight! The 5-year-old me is like, Dad, what's going on?
Welcome to hockey, son.
Yeah, it was like, when you're challenged to a fight, you fight. Okay. Good life lesson. Thanks very much.
After that, I got to ask Jeremy about his first game experience.
Oh man, probably wasn't till I was older. Actually, my dad never really took us to many games. It wasn't until I could drink that awesome Northlands beer that I started. And then the only one I kind of have like that is I took my father-in-law to a game, and they were playing the Canadians. So we were surrounded by Canadians fans, and of course we're winning. And that's when my father-in-law decides to stand up and yell out, "Price is wrong, bitch." All right, I'm gonna get our asses kicked tonight.
Oh, that's great.
I gotta say, the Montreal fans are some of the worst here in Edmonton, because I was at a game too there back still at Northlands or Roger or Rexall, whatever it's called, and so many Canadian fans everywhere with their red jerseys, so proud to be a Montreal Canadiens fan. And that was a game where the Oilers were killing him. I think it was like 6-3 going into third period, and all of a sudden you didn't see any more red jerseys. They were all wearing their jackets over top of it and everything. Like, what? I thought you were proud to be Canadiens fans. Now you're all hiding. Like, geez, stand it.
When I had season tickets, I guess I was one of the people responsible for filling the building full of Montreal fans, because I would always sell those seats. I hated being surrounded by those guys. And
triple the price, they're yours, no problem.
Oh yeah,
Here we go.
I would pay for a quarter of the season in one game. It felt like. Yeah.
Some stranger on YouTube there, thanks for watching. He says, you guys think Skinner might just be rusty. Yeah, I mean, this summer you probably don't see NHL shots quite like you normally do during the season, and some guys take a little bit to kind of warm up to playing again. Yeah, no, that definitely could be part of it.
He could be rusty. Campbell could be gold-plated and turn into rust 5 games into the season. You just never know. So
yeah, goalies are voodoo for sure.
Yeah,
I don't think it's rusty as much. I think he's, well, I guess if you're gonna use the term rusty, I think it's just pregame or preseason, like getting his legs going, getting game shape, that sort of stuff. I think it's just all part of the process. Do we even know how Skinner did last year in the preseason? I'm not even sure, but he wasn't the starting goalie, that's for sure. We had Campbell start the season. Yeah. So I think we're too busy comparing how Skinner did last season as a Calder candidate, and then seeing why it's not translating into preseason. Screw it. He wasn't fighting for a job. He's just getting his legs going.
Yeah,
I'm not too worried.
it could mean nothing, or it could mean something. I'm still bitter over that Zadorov goal.
It didn't mean anything, Mike.
not really bitter, but yeah,
It sounds like it's been keeping you up at night.
I looked at that and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I could have shot that. That could have been me.
Well, remember when Carey Price was playing and he would let in like 8 goals in an exhibition game, and they wanted to light him on fire in Montreal, and he's like, guys, it's exhibition game.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Like, relax, it's preseason.
Relax, it's okay. I'm gonna be fine.
Yeah, your mental focus is different for sure.
It is.
Do you guys have anywhere you got to go this evening? Because we're just over an hour, and usually we shut her down at an hour, but we can go a little longer if you want.
That's past my curfew, isn't it? Sheesh.
Hey man, we don't even start normally till now. So.
Mom, meatloaf.
Mom, the meatloaf. Oh boy.
I don't know. We may have exhausted the whole Oilers spectrum of forwards, defense, and goaltenders, and coaching, and analytics, and regression, and
thanks for actually hosting tonight, Brian. You did a good job.
Damn, I'm gunning for you, man.
Yeah, you can come back next week.
I'm on board. Probably less basketball references. That'd be nice.
Oh,
you're never gonna get a basketball reference out of me. Like, I've heard of Michael Jordan, but that's about it. I've never watched a whole basketball game in my life.
Well, with all the worry about Skinner's preseason, we can just chalk up the old Allen Iverson practice.
Talking about practice.
Here's Jeremy breaking out the basketball reference. Oh my goodness!
There we go.
Yeah, Skinner's going to be fine.
You think so?
He's getting taken before Campbell in all 4 fantasy drafts that I've been in, which is interesting. It's like he's the de facto number 1, and Campbell gets taken in the 10th or 12th round by somebody. So somebody's getting a pretty good bargain.
Well, on the official depth chart there, Skinner is listed above Campbell, but they're basing most of that on last season, right? So
of course,
and he earned that spot last year, but it's a free for all this year, different season, and we're gonna need both those guys. Like Woodcroft keeps saying, we're gonna need both those guys. It's definitely more of a 2-goalie league than it used to be, and so they'll feed off each other. I love the relationship those two guys have. They seem to be pretty tight, feeding off each other. And I think that's going to go a long ways for us.
So some stranger is giving us more topics to discuss.
Bring it.
He doesn't want us to end yet, I guess.
Let's go, some stranger.
And thanks for watching. He says, yeah, there you know, or both. McLeod, Ekholm, talk about them yet? No, we haven't. Yeah, I don't know what the situation is there with either one. I kind of have my doubts that Wednesday Ekholm will actually play. I think that's more of a Saturday at home for the home opener, but I'm not sure.
Sure want the guy in the lineup, man. He is fantastic.
Yeah.
So, I'm betting we see both of them. I'm betting we see them both on Wednesday. The last time they were chatting with Woodcroft after practice, he was still talking about kind of iffy about Ekholm even making that last preseason game yet. So he was that close. So he gets a little bit of off. He was on the ice the other day, not an intense practice, but he was on the ice with the boys. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him back. And I'm more worried now with the Kulak thing, like what's going on there. And I kind of seem to come out of the blue a little bit.
Would you rank Ekholm as a better defender than Jason Smith?
Defender?
Ooh.
Yikes.
He's
a better all-around defenseman, that's for sure.
Yep. But Jason Smith had that very mean, intense shutdown. You are not getting by me mentality.
Yeah, you looked in his eyes, and you were fucked coming down his wing.
Yeah.
Have you guys dabbled at all in any of the Oilers Plus stuff?
No.
There's a like unmiked or mic'd up Ekholm, And in that Vegas series, man, does he love to trash talk. It was fucking awesome.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's in there just jawing guys. Like, I was like, holy shit. Him and Kane, and you know, you expect that from Evander, but he's right there with him, and probably even a little bit more so than Kane was. And I was just laughing, like, holy fuck, this guy's intense. Like,
You see
I
the
loved
actual
it.
plays. He does have a bit of an edge to him.
Yeah.
But if we're like Jason Smith had those Rocket Richard eyes almost, like he was a different person in those eyes, right? And like you were saying there, like you just knew that if you're going head to head with him, like, something's gonna hurt. Something's gonna
Good eyes reference, yes.
He narrowed his eyes.
Definitely Gator was vicious.
Yeah.
But he didn't
remember him popping Todd Harvey once. Todd Harvey's coming down the wing and he just boom snapped his head back in full flight. Like, whoa. He took a penalty, but nobody was coming down his wing.
Yeah.
So much different player than Ekholm, that's for sure. But yeah, I'd give Ekholm the edge over Jason Smith, who was just he was just pure violence. So
yeah.
You guys gently talk amongst yourself, so I'm going to find that Eyes song.
I love it. We go from basketball referencing to song lyrics. Like
that was great. That was from Dustin Nielsen's old show, right?
Yeah.
1260 years ago.
I have to scroll back.
Dallas Eakins.
I have to scroll back through a bunch of Surveyor Brett DMs here.
Dallas Eakins, another name from the past. Jeez.
Yeah, does he have a job?
He was an analyst last time I saw, and actually he did a pretty good job. I don't know if he was on ESPN or where, but I can tell he did a pretty good job analyzing during the playoffs. So.
Okay. Oh yeah, he was on the panel there between periods and stuff in the playoffs. Yeah. That's right. And then he got fired at the end of that. he got fired before that, I think. Yeah, he was fired at the end of the season.
He was let go by Anaheim before that already. Yeah. I thought you meant he got fired from the panel. Like, no, I don't think so. That's a tough season.
Yeah, they got the hook around your neck when you're trying to talk on the panel.
You're a target when. Do you remember watching the WHA Oilers?
I sure do. Yeah, my dad was a original season ticket holder, so he has a certificate from 1971 or 72 from going to the first game. And
how come they were the Alberta Oilers?
Yes, they were the Alberta Oilers. That's right, and they played some team that didn't exist for very long. And, as there were so many of them, I mean, over the course of the WHA, I think they had 30 teams, even though the WHA itself never had more than 14 or something like that. So it was quite a wild ride. But
so he would have been, if he went to all the games, then he would have seen Jacques Plante play even back then as no other.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah,
that's incredible that guy even played for the Oilers.
Yeah, only home games. Yeah, wouldn't go on the road.
Yeah, and I think he was only 92 years old at the time too, so a little past his prime.
Yeah, no, those were good days.
Stand out.
My favorite player was Cowboy Flett because his nickname was Cowboy Flett. I thought that was cool.
What a reason! What a reason to have a favorite player by the nickname.
Right. Yeah.
No idea what he was like as a player, but his name was Cowboy.
Don't really recall. No.
I think we're getting warm.
Fast forward, we got the new Cowboy and his silver shin pads. Rod set.
Silver shin pads. Yeah. That's a Lone Ranger look if I ever saw one. So who are we meeting this Stanley Cup? Who are we meeting in the Stanley Cup final?
Oh boy, let's see. Carolina's gonna flame out in the first round. You heard it here first.
I'm thinking the Rangers.
Rangers. Not a bad pick.
How about the all-Canadian matchup? Finally, finally we got Toronto and Edmonton.
Don't even say it. You go to hell.
You go to hell. Do you really hate Toronto more than Calgary? And what kind of an Edmontonian are you?
That's a tough question.
Yeah, I feel equally.
Yeah.
It was annoying growing up. Hockey night in Canada was one game, and it was always Toronto and somebody. And
5 o'clock.
Until playoffs.
yeah, yeah, that's right.
Durslow's probably picking the Raptors to face the Oilers, or what?
They're going to cross over.
Settle down.
Yeah.
Settle down.
Eyes. You know what? I saw it in his eyes. Eyes. It's fun to watch his eyes. Eyes. And, he narrowed his eyes. He's been a horse. His eyes narrow. I saw it in his eyes.
I've been needing to tell you. I've got this feeling that won't subside.
He loves his eyes.
I look at you and I fantasize.
Eyes. It's going in the net.
Here comes the chorus.
Horse eyes. People were highly critical of his eyes. His eyes narrow. Eyes. Eyes.
The end of this is beautiful.
I tell you,
Credit
I was
to Dustin
driving
Nielsen
to
for
work.
that banger.
Driving to work, I remember when they played that for the first time, and I nearly drove off the road. I just had tears running down my face.
Oh man.
Oh god.
I don't even know if they do that really much anymore, do they? Like,
Well, I got to tell you, I'm not a huge podcast guy, which is kind of ironic that I'm on a podcast because I've never been able to get through an entire podcast in my life. I've got the attention span of a mosquito. About 15 minutes in max, I'm like, okay, I get what they're trying to say. Next. I can't do it. So I'm fully expecting that actually absolutely nobody is watching this anymore. Some people are. I don't know.
it's off and on.
How's that the stuff that Nielsen does now on that podcast? That they doing a good job?
Yeah.
Tell me, because I've never tuned in. I'm thinking of doing it.
Yeah.
It's basically what they were doing on 1260 for the most part. It was kind of rebranded for Edmonton Sports Talk. We actually got two of our shows on the Heavy Hockey Network. We're basically considered friends of EST.
Mhm.
And so Oilers Live and Fantasy Hockey Hacks, they have a regular night. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I believe, is when they're on. So
9 o'clock both nights.
So that's pretty cool. That expands the listener base a bit too.
Awesome.
Yeah, they get a pretty good audience.
Yeah.
I think what they're going to need to do is expand what they're offering. I mean, Dusty does his thing, I think, from 6 till 9, I believe, possibly 10, and then they do the hangouts after that, and then there's not much in the afternoon. So I think they're going to have to try to, have from 6 o'clock till kind of 6. Like they need a 12-hour cycle of what they're really offering for live content, I think, and then they're really going to have it made in the shade. And then they're 1440 is a radio station, but they're also streaming to YouTube with kind of Kevin Carius in the morning, Low Tide, and Jason Greger, and so kind of the two. I guess you've kind of got everybody from 1260 working again, which is great, but they're kind of competing against each other on two different kind of platforms.
Yeah.
So.
Well, good. That's cool. Good for you guys hooking up with them. That's a pretty good score.
Yeah,
I'm just glad that all those boys are back on airwaves somewhere, because that's a pretty quality crew that was
yeah.
that was helping us out with all the weather information, right? So it's good to have them back on for sure.
I'll have to get a tardy slip out for Nate name here. He says, "Hey guys, I'm late. Just got the kids to bed after a long Thanksgiving day. Hope the episode has been good."
Just
Well,
skip the first 20 minutes or so where we go through all the inside jokes that aren't funny.
I can summarize most of the episode right here. So, and be careful. This guy's coming to your house to ask for if you'd like to buy some life insurance. he doesn't sell life insurance, but he knows you need some.
Yeah.
Oh man. Did you scour the internet for Jeremy's secret pictures? I hope you did.
I don't think I got much on Jer other than this one. I'll have to.
I keep it kind of low key, like unlike you, Bri.
I'm just out there, man. I tell you.
This is not some wild LinkedIn picture here. Oh, I put it in the wrong place. It won't show up good there. Just 1 second.
Don't you have like another job too, Dursa? What do you spend all day looking at pictures of everybody's Facebook or whatever?
I can multitask, kind of.
It's called
Yes, Kim.
Oh yeah, I forgot you have 2 screens now.
There
you go. That's quality.
Isn't that awesome?
He bought one of them jerseys with the funny orange in the middle.
Huh.
Tangerine.
Yeah, a gift from some of the people I work with.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nobody likes me at work.
Yeah,
not that much, no.
I remember last time I got a gift of anything.
I shouldn't say that. Last year, our company got a box for Oilers and Flames game and paid for hotel rooms in the city. So,
oh, nice.
It was pretty nice. Yeah, it was a good time.
Actually,
how many games do you guys get? How many games do you guys go a year to go see live in person, there, boys?
I usually
I had season tickets up. Sorry, go ahead, Jeremy. You got the squirrel operated internet. So
tired. Now I usually go to about 10 a year, but I'll probably cut back a bit now.
Did you give up your season seats, Jer, or you just farm them out all the time now?
Nah, not getting them anymore. Just gonna probably go down to mini packs with the kids.
Nice. Well, I had season tickets. I split season tickets for years up until about 4 years ago. And then I would go to 2 or 3 games. Last year was the first year I didn't go to a single game. I watched every single game on TV, but I didn't attend a single one. So I got to change that.
That's crazy that I'm going to more games than you are.
Yes, you are. I don't know. I don't love the feel of that new building, honestly.
Really?
I remember when I was at Northlands, you had relatively inexpensive seats, and they're all relatively close compared to the way they are now, where you've got this, that strip of loge seating separating the scumbags up top from. So when you're up there, like I split season seats for the first 3-4 seasons, whatever it was that they were in Rogers Place, and I just it was different than being row 34 at Northlands. You still felt like you were right on top of the action, whereas you're up that high in Rogers, and it's not the same experience that it was.
For the cost of that building, you think they could put like a higher gear on that escalator? Because man, that takes a long time to get up that thing.
Yeah, you kind of I used to hate getting on that thing and like disappearing out of view of all the happy people below on their nice wide concourse, and then get off in the congested one up there and being moved along like sardines. And experience wasn't great for the money anymore, I thought. So
yeah, it's kind of interesting that the design up there is way different than below. Like I guess I'm spoiled. When I come to a game, I usually phone Mike Arujo, my old boss from End of the Roll, and section 122 is usually where I'm sitting in his seats if I come. But up top there, everything's a little bit tighter. Like the stairs are a little bit more steep, and yeah, it's it's an experience up there. I enjoy the view. Like, I don't think it's a bad view from up there, but you're a little bit more squished in.
Mm-hmm.
That combined with the fact that the kids have to go to university and that money need to be kind of moved in that direction.
Yeah.
So, well, it's okay. Every game's on TV. I along in the mega thread still with the 2 or 3 people that interact with me on there.
I'm dreading this season because with the changes that have gone on with X or Twitter or whatever the fuck you want to call it, I don't know if it's actually going to even work. Like last season was pretty simple. I would go to work and I got a list of everybody, and during the day I would just find time to pre-arrange everything that was supposed to get spit out, and it would do that. But now with the way Twitter is, I mean, I hear that TweetDeck is now a service that you need to pay for. So that kind of, I don't think I want to invest in that just to be able to do the mega thread. I think now you can actually
5 or 6 people interact on it.
Yeah, and I think now you can actually schedule tweets like regular tweets, kind of the same way. So if that actually works, then maybe I'll keep doing it. But if it just becomes where it's a fucking nightmare just to be able to do what we've done in the past, then I think I might have to exit stage left and retire.
Those are some fun years with mega thread, Mike, starting with the 2017 playoffs and when it was really hopping, when there were people jumping in on there just randomly. And
I can't take credit for the original concept. That came from Sean Patrick Ryan, like SPR, and somebody else. They started the whole thing, and the first couple that they were doing, it was just fucking chaos. Like now it's like a bunch of groups. It's like I've got like all these pages and because you can only tag so many people, and then it doesn't let you kind of connect it all. Before it was like there would be, I think it started with about 50 people, and they would all be in the same thing, and your phone was just going on fire. Now it's grown to like over 250, but it's not all like in the same kind of fucking echo chamber, I guess. But
yeah, well, we're gonna have to come up with a new nickname. It's no longer Mega Thread Mike. It's Rockwell Mike, something like that.
I guess there's one other thing that maybe we should talk about, and then we can shut her down. Heritage Classic, or is anybody going? Are you looking forward to that? What do you think of this whole new reboot of the original idea that originated in Edmonton?
I'm not, although that's just out of my own laziness more than anything else. I think I would like to go to that. I didn't think they would sell out in like an hour or whatever it was. So there's still by the time I checked, they were all gone. I did go to the original one.
If you actually look now, you can still get tickets, but the minimum I was seeing was about $230 a person, and I'm just not sure I want to invest that much into kind of a novelty game.
I kind of feel that since I was at that first one, the -20 disaster and topped out that whole 6-hour stretch. I borrowed a power lineman's insulating coveralls, like from my toes to my head, and that saved my life. I would have frozen to death there for sure. But I think we were in row 9. I could just kind of see them from the chest up. It wasn't great.
All you can see is like a puff of, it almost looks like smoke, a fog from them breathing, probably.
And I really enjoyed that old timers thing that they did before that. I thought that was a blast. Seeing Coco spread out, flashing the right hand to make a glove save was pretty awesome to see again. But I don't know if I probably won't end up going. What about you, Jeremy?
Yeah, no, I don't think I'm gonna endure that one this year. I got my 4 games set aside for the kids, and that'll be it, because they're probably gonna want to drink and popcorn, and that shit's expensive now.
No, I'll be watching from the comfort of my own home. My biggest thing, I don't want to dish out that much for. I think if you do go, it's more to say that you were there, check it off as an experience. But Like I want to see the game. Like I'm so involved in the hockey aspect of the whole Oiler experience. Like I'm all about the game, and I want to see it and be able to kind of analyze it. And you're just not going to be able to do that there in row F, seat 97 or something like that. Like it's not the same. If I happen to get a ticket, it'd probably be last minute, and it might be something that I won online or got given to me or some bullshit like that. And then I go. But other than that, no, I'll be right here, staring straight ahead, cursing and cheering.
If you guys have a final thought, I'll let you give her, and then I'll close this down.
I've just got a monkey up there with cymbals kind of banging together. So I think I'm spent. So good seeing you guys again. Thanks very much for the invite. It's been a blast. Hopefully 1 or 2 people enjoyed a small section of this before giving up on it.
What do you got, Jared?
I will obviously have to get a better setup for next time if my but the important thing is love.
Right back at you, buddy.
Good
seeing you.
Looking forward to the season. I think it's going to be a pretty special one. So hopefully we can all manage to get together at first round for a game one of these days.
That'd be a blast.
It's tough for me to have a final thought, and I never even had an initial thought to begin with. But other than that, thanks, boys, for coming on. It was fun chatting with you guys and fun meeting you guys. So hopefully, maybe one time we'll get together for a beer and watch a game at a pub somewhere.
Sounds good, Bob.
That would actually be a good place to do a show. Is that first round if they could get us set up there? I wouldn't mind that, doing a live on location. Yeah. So from now on, I think Mondays at 8 is kind of going to be our regular time throughout the season. If there's a conflict with the game, I think there's 5 or 6 games that land on a Monday night. If it's a Western Conference game, like on the West Coast here, I think we'll do like a pregame show. And if it's out east, we'll go post game. I'm not against doing a post game Wednesday if that's exciting, or maybe Saturday after the home opener. Trying to get out a little bit more content, but Monday nights is going to be our kind of guaranteed night. And Name is saying, "Oh man, I missed first round. There's none out here." Yeah, I like watching sports in first round and having a cold beer and a burger that's changed names about 1 million times. It started out as a Lucic burger, then the Clefbaum burger, and I don't know what the hell they call it now. Just a burger, I think. Now they've given up on naming it after a hockey player because they seem to get traded or hurt or something. Enjoy that. You both know I love you. You're certified beauticians in my mind. Thanks for hosting the show, Bryan. That was a treat for me to sit back and listen to you interview us.
Love you too, bro. No problem.
And Charlie Chaplin there beside you that didn't say a lot, but thanks for coming on, Jer. I'll put some good words in and see if we can get you a fiber optic cable or something out there. And
it's tough to chime in when you're in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
You would know. The one episode, Bobby was coming to us from a cave in Afghanistan under fire, and all of a sudden he's talking and then he's not, and he's gone. And Chad's like, "This is the greatest episode Bob's ever had." So.
Having said that, I thought this was Chad's best episode.
It probably was, yes. And the start of it looked like my best episode too, when I couldn't figure out my shit here. So anyway, thanks everybody.
Well,
thanks everybody for watching. Thank you both for coming on board, and we'll have you back again in a few months when an internet cable gets to Jeremy.
Yeah, the Albert basement bunker isn't doing too good, I guess.
Everybody keep your sticks on the ice, keep reaching for the stars, and go Oilers, go. I can't even talk. And now it's time for everybody's favorite cool down music, and that's another inside joke because here it is.
Happy Halloween.